Hello, everyone, and welcome in. This is Aaron St. Denis at FF Mad Scientist. He is Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. And welcome to the Fantasy Football Universe. That's right. Another day and another 2024 rookie sneak peek. Today we've got Georgia tight end Brock Bowers, and I am having deja vu. How about you? It's almost like we've done that before. For those of you who don't know why I'm laughing like an idiot, I'm up in Canada and we're having some weather, and we got about a minute into our recording here and had to reset the whole damn thing because my internet crashed. So I have now introduced Brock Bowers twice in the last 45 seconds. So
he's that good. He deserves a second introduction.
Yeah, and like I was saying, so this is our first tight end. We've gotten pretty much quarterback, wide receiver so far. I had to move up a few running backs because the first one we had was Travion Henderson. He was due somewhere in the middle of our second week of recording, and he stayed. So we don't have a running back for a while because it's a shitty class. We got another tight end, I think, next week, Jatavian Sanders. He's really good. And then there's not a whole lot else in this tight end class. As I was telling Jesse the first time we recorded this, I wrote up for DLF the Jatavian Sanders profile, and I was saying that I think I'd rather have him in the mid to late second round of rookie drafts as opposed to Brock Bowers. Like, obviously, Bowers is better, but I don't know. I was never a fan of drafting a rookie tight end in the first round of a rookie draft. Kyle Pitts made that even more evident. I get it. You're going to say Sam Laporta was awesome, but I don't know.
We got Laporta in the mid to late second last year in a lot of drafts. So, it's a massive different opportunity. Kind of like where Sanders is at, yeah.
I got McBride was a consensus mid to late second rounder 2 years ago. Last year, Laporta, I have my main league draft, he went at 110, 111 to a Lions homer who needed a tight end. But in every other league, he was that was probably a middle second rounder there. So I prefer the second round tight ends. They're just as likely to hit. I don't want, I love Brock Bowers, but I'm not paying. I've seen him go at 103 in Superflex. And I'm going, it was Caleb, Marvin Harrison, and then Brock Bowers. And I'm going, no.
Is it like a severe tight end premium, or is it somebody just desperate for
a tight end? No, it was tight end premium, but it was just.
This is the Kyle Pitts thing, right? It's opportunity cost. So, he's literally the best tight end prospect we've ever had. So I get it. He's better prospect than Pitts coming out. It's just.
We said that about Pitts, though.
I know. The thing about Pitts is he's just 6'6", 250. He's a freaking unicorn. He's such a different level of athlete. It's insane. But Bowers is just, he's special.
I don't
special.
Want to
do it. So I know. I get it. I'm kind of with you.
Just don't want to do it. It's like being the first person to draft a defense or a kicker. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, we paid the 107 through 110 for Kincaid last year, and that's kind of not bad. It's okay, but yeah, it's still extreme.
Consensus, Kincaid was the top the first drafted out of the three, and was probably the worst. He could have been equal with Moeller, but
yeah,
wasn't the best. So, all right. So, like I said, Georgia tight end Brock Bowers from Napa, California. Bowers was a 4-star prospect out of Napa High School. That entire region of California. When I hear Napa, and I was watching a documentary yesterday on Vallejo, all I can think about is the Zodiac. That's all I think about. I think Napa. I don't think, that's where Brock Bowers is from. That's where the Zodiac killer was.
Oh, I was thinking of the Wine Country and Sideways.
Oh no,
but yeah, that's another way to look at it.
No, I watched too many horror movies. There was a new documentary on yesterday, and it's from Vallejo, California, and they're saying, it's such a safe, nice place, and I'm going, well, this one's a documentary on a kidnapping that happened, and I'm pretty sure that's where the Zodiac was. I'm like, you got a weird definition of a safe place to live, man. Anyways, I've gotten sidetracked by my love of horror movies. Bowers committed to the Bulldogs in August of 2020. At that time, he was ranked tight end 2 in the class on 24/7 Sports. This one is the written profile by SC Romero on fantasyfootballuniverse.com. If you want the full breakdown, the full preview, I guess. All pre-draft stuff right now. We'll update and republish new ones after the draft with all the metrics and capital and whatnot. Senior year in high school was canceled due to COVID. However, that didn't stop Bowers from making an immediate impact on the Georgia offense. In his true freshman season, he set records at tight end for Georgia. He finished with 56 receptions and 882 yards with 13 touchdowns. Not a bad year. He was first-team All-American and AP SEC Newcomer of the Year. He only improved his sophomore season by finishing with 63 receptions, 942 yards, but the touchdowns took a bit of a dip down to 7. More accolades would come as he was selected AP and coaches All-SEC first team. In his junior season, he only played 10 games due to injury. However, he still led the team with 56 receptions, 714 yards, and 6 TDs. Throughout his collegiate career, he has shown immense signs of domination, and he is the consensus tight end 1, as per SC. So it looks like his first 2 seasons were pretty comparable. All 3, I guess, were pretty comparable in yards. He really took a dip in the touchdowns, so maybe there was some just touchdown luck in the first season. But overall, what did you think of him at Georgia?
I think he's been like everything you could have asked for a tight end to like come into the field, because usually they take time to develop, right? Brock Bowers is not the case. He burst on the scene, particularly the national championship his freshman year. He just literally just lit him up, and you saw this. And you're like, this guy's unstoppable. People can't keep up with him. And I was reading a piece on him where it says like his mom was an All-American at Utah back in the day, so he like comes from like good bloodlines of just freak athletes, and you see it on the floor. And then last year he was great. This year he's dealt with injuries, so like it's been a little bit hit or miss because he's been dealing with injuries the entire year. But he's still been playing through and been a very, very good player. So his production profile plus the prospect profile on top of it, it's literally like really just top tier stuff. Like you can't get a better tight end prospect. I'd say the only thing that worries me is just the size. He's a little bit undersized, but outside of that, like he checks every potential box you could ever ask for.
That's why you come to the universe, guys. You can't find anything that in-depth anywhere else. Jesse over here scouting family trees for past lineage. That's how deep Jesse goes. And he didn't even write this profile, but he just went that deep anyways. He has gone like ancestors back here. So you're right, though, the measurables. He's 6'4", which I typed it in originally. In the wide receiver, because he was the first tight end on my chart. Yeah, so his profile went in as a wide receiver. And I was like, 6'4", 99th percentile, 140 pounds, 100th percentile. I'm like, what? Oh, wait, I got to convert.
You're like, holy smokes, this guy. Yeah, like if he was 6'4", that.
41st percentile and 240, 13th percentile because he's a tight end. He is 21 and was a junior. So he is, by wide receiver standards, a monster. But he is more of a slot tight end or receiving tight end. Still a big dude. Like he's not small. He's 6'4", 240, but he's not your typical, blocking tight end. He is more like an athletic receiving type. So
this is exactly what we were talking about Kincaid last year. Like he's a little bit undersized, same thing, but you're chasing, you want the guys getting receptions. So Evan Ingram, those type of players, right? You don't want the guy blocking because it's not going to help you fantasy. So yeah, 100% with you.
Alrighty, let's take a look here at some of his strengths and weaknesses. Again, I am using SC's article, the pre-draft sneak peek on fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Strengths he has are excellent combination of athleticism and size. Tad undersized, but still pretty decent. Versatile athlete. He can line up anywhere on the field and be effective. He's a playmaker when the ball is in his hands. Led all tight ends in the country in Yak. Elite hands, whether contested or wide open, he is sure to become any quarterback's favorite target. Has the strength and body control to match up against anyone, and he's a great receiver, a good blocker but not great, and is an all-around well-rounded tight end. Similar kind of the profile I found. I thought last year the most well-rounded tight end in the draft was Michael Moeller. Although he wasn't the best receiver, he wasn't the best blocker. I think Bowers is kind of like that, except Bowers is a much better receiver. So, like, whereas we seen with Kincaid, blocking was a severe deficiency. Even like Laporta, we thought pass catching was going to be a deficiency. It wasn't like that. So, what are your thoughts here on his strengths?
Yeah, I think his strengths jump off the page at you. When you watch tape and guys jump out, this is similar to what we talked about Neighbors. He kind of explodes off the page. It's similar to Bowers. Like you see him with how he generates yak in the open field. It's really, tight ends don't do this. Like you don't see tight ends be able to just pull away from defenders, gain extra space. And it's really when he's in like coverage man on man, it's really difficult for a defender because he's that in-between size and he's so fast. It's a nightmare matchup. So I think in the NFL, he's going to translate very well on that aspect. I'm
up.
curious how an NFL offense, like that's what my only concern with him is how an NFL offense uses him as a bit undersized tight end. Like, do they push him out to the slot a little bit more, or do they just run him out of tight end the entire time? Because he can play it, like he's better out wide.
I'm trying to load up Sleeper because I don't have it in front of me. The one I thought of, I don't know how big he is. Okay, so he immediately reminded me of George Kittle, who's similar. He's 6'4", but he's 250. So how big did I say Bowers was?
He's 230.
230. Okay, so he's Kittle was put together a little bit better than he is, but still, I seen a lot of Kittle in his explosiveness in him when I watched him. 1 sec, sorry, I'm having a loading screen issue here. Okay, getting into the weakness. SC said separation. Although he has elite hands, he may struggle to find separation against some of the league's most elite safeties. Slightly smaller than your average NFL tight end, obviously. He struggles at times against press coverage, which could constrict his playmaking ability at the next level. And despite being an excellent route runner, there is still room for improvement. Slight technique refinements that could allow him to adjust and, start and stop and shift quicker. So just some minor, well, I mean, his size is a slight concern, but some, I guess you would say, technique issues with route running and off the line stuff. Did you notice any of that?
Yeah, I'd say like it's just a little concerned. Honestly, I'm not that worried. Sorry, that's my phone going off.
Well, yeah, no. We're a lot of these early profiles don't overstate the weaknesses. Like, we have to come up with some weaknesses. Some of them were just nitpicking. Like, there's, he kind of needs to maybe do this a little better. There are no glaring weaknesses in his game. It's
for me the biggest concern. The biggest concern is his fit in the NFL offense because he's a tweener. So like whenever you have guys that are in between, they're not the big traditional tight end, or they're not like these slot wide receivers. They're in the in between range. Like you need an offensive play caller and scheme that's going to act like highlight his strength. So wherever he goes, that's what I'm worried about. Like as long as they're going to draft him top 10. So obviously whichever team drafts him is going to do that, but you need a smart play caller that can put him out wide and use this.
And that perfectly transitions us into our final segment, where we think he'll go and where we'd like to see him go. SC has him expected as top 6 overall. Ideal landing spot was the Giants. Don't know if I love that fit. I'm using mock draft database for some of their consensus mocks. They have him as early as 4 to the Cardinals. I can't see that at all. McBride, why would they draft Bowers with McBride there?
There's no way. That's just so stupid.
I don't know who made that one, but that's terrible. I hate that. The Chargers, I don't mind at 5. And then after that, they have him at 9 or 10 for the Giants or Jets. And then after that, the only other team anyone has, there's 4 or 5 people who have him going to the Bengals at 18. So we've got him at 5, 9, 10, and then not again until the 18s. So a lot of Jets here, 10th. I don't necessarily know. I don't feel like Aaron Rodgers has relied all that heavily on tight ends in the past. I know Bob Tunyon there had a year, but I think I like, if he's going to go top 5, I don't mind the Chargers. How about you?
Yeah, no, like that's, the ideal fit. Gerald Everett's a free agent, so they're losing Gerald Everett, right? So he's walking into an open position. And it's like I don't know what the offense is going to be, but like you have Herbert, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So like you pair him up with that. I think Tennessee's another interesting option too, because they have why am I blanking on his name? He's actually he's like very similar to McBride actually in his build and things like that. He's just an upgrade over him, so they could go that route if they wanted to, because they're getting a new head coach and things of that nature. But yeah, this is kind of the issue with McBride. He's not going to be your traditional fit, so you have to find the right team and quarterback. So like this is always the risk with tight end. Really.
Yeah, I think like we said, my favorite one would be 5th to the Chargers. I love that, especially if they're going to lose one or both of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So that would be my best fit. I don't know. 5th overall for tight end. That feels really high. I get how good he is, but where did Pitts go? 4?
He went 5th.
I feel like that 9-10 there, or the Giants Jets range, is safer in the early, like right around 10. 6 seems really high, 5 seems really high, but it's entirely possible. So
yeah, like I mean, you could do. It's the problem is with Atlanta and Chicago, they have young, promising tight ends at 8, 9, so that really takes them out of the ballpark. You really think, right? So yeah, I'm very curious where he's gonna go. Like that's the most intriguing thing to me.
All right. Well, that concludes the 2024 rookie sneak peek for Georgia tight end Brock Bowers. Check back with us tomorrow for the next video in the series. And every day we'll have another video, and we will also have another article out on the website. There will be, like I said, a written version of this review on fantasyfootballuniverse.com. So head over and check that out. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Take care and have a great day.